Hey everybody, my name's Andrew. Currently living in a three-bedroom detached home, living pretty comfortably here with me and my wife and two cats. Um, my landlord's trying to sell his house and wants to sell it vacant. Um, I know that he doesn't have the right to do so, but I'm willing to come up to an agreement with him that could work out in the best interest for both of us. Um, I do really like it here, so I'd rather stay, but money talks, and the right price could get me to do anything. So I made this post in my local Facebook group here, Cambridge. Living in Cambridge here, things are pretty pricey. Kind of explain the situation and just that we might come to a cash for keys agreement. And I wanted a ballpark price on how much it costs to get movers to add to that invoice, I guess. Um, I've never hired movers before. Wasn't sure if it's like $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. So that was kind of the gist of this post. Got a bunch of helpful comments, just kind of related to the cost and whatnot. Now I did run a script that changes everyone's names to just a random name pulled from a giant list. It does map to the original name, so if you have three Carla's comments, it'll always be the same name. So here we'll see Shane, 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 etc. All random, so no breach of confidentiality here. This post ended up causing a lot of drama. Ended up with 220 comments in about a 24-hour period. It's been 2 days now actually. Lots of people got really angry at me for extorting my landlord, which I'm not doing. Lots of people don't understand the LTB, and so the comments get pretty dramatic at times. So I'm gonna just show off my favorite ones from this. I think I'll quickly start off with showing the invoice that I sent over to my landlord. There's nothing private here. Um, so I made this beautiful Word document that was kind of a proposal for cost. I was very generous. I looked at similar comparable rent in the area. I'm currently paying $2,800, and now a three-bed detached in Cambridge is around $3,500 a month. So I was asking for 1 year rent difference, hiring movers for $5,000, and just 1 month rent to slap on top of that. I was even really generous. I offered and I'm pretty good to my word, would reimburse the actual amounts that end up happening. So if I only paid 200 extra in rent, I would happily give some of that money back. Um, Same with hiring the movers. So, I just don't want to have to pay and take time off work and whatnot. So I said I would offer a full refund as long as I haven't found a new place. Like I respect my landlord and don't want to screw over anyone here. Somebody here just informed me to make sure I read all the Tenant Act info, but I actually know quite a lot about it because these discussions with my landlord started about 6 months ago, if not even more. So I kind of just was like, yeah, I know. I'm just planning on getting time off work, movers, and difference in rent covered for a year because that's the time I'll be on a contract, and after that I can move out if I want. So that's not his responsibility at that point, in my opinion. Um, Here's Michael. That's crazy what you're doing. Just move on, dude. That's so petty. I rent too. It's a normal situation. A lot of likes on that one. It's not a normal situation. You can't just kick me out of your house so you can sell it. So, there's that. Continuing that conversation, people were kind of tearing that Michael guy apart. So, I mean, if a landlord is trying to illegally evict them, I don't see the problem of coming to a compromise so both parties are getting something and it's more fair and quicker than going to court. I agree. I was trying to do my landlord a service, like what do I call it, a courtesy here. Um, I don't have to move. I don't want to move. I really like it here. So, I was just offering him something that might be worth it for me to leave. I agree. Yep, that's what's going on. I have no intention of leaving, but the right amount of money, and I'll do anything. Right? Milo, you can't do that, dude. Sorry, not sorry. The law states 60 days notice and 1 month worth of rent, and you have to move. If you try to squat, he will win at the landlord-tenant board, and you will have to pay double his legal fees. Just save yourself the trouble. I was like, okay. Please inform me of what reason he is giving me 60 days notice to evict. Is it that he intends to move in as primary residence? Is it that he intends to have family or friend live here, you know, luckily I got a lot of people on my back. I've also had a lot of DMs. People reach out to me being like, you know, it's good you know what you're talking about for the most part. Michael here, you don't own that place. That's good. Keeps kind of going on. I'm trying to find the good stuff. Here's another one. I do believe he is only required to give you notice of, I believe, 60 days if your initial lease is up, unfortunately. That's wrong, sorry. He can't just give me 60 days notice for no reason. He can give me 60 days notice if he wants to move back in. I will gladly give them their house back if they intend to live here as their primary residence. They just want me out solely to make an extra 100K on the house, I'm guessing anyways. It's probably true though. Wouldn't you want a piece of that pie? It's kind of boring, but here we go. Gets juicy here. Um, Andrew, honestly, no. I think it's not my pie. I personally think it's kind of selfish to think that you're entitled to it, and if you are month to month because your lease is up, it's a whole different ballgame. I am month to month right now. I kind of think I'm entitled to that if he's wanting to kick me out for no reason. He has no legal obligation here. Or sorry, I have no legal obligation to leave during the sale of this house. If the new owners want to move in, I'll comply. I'm not going to be a pain in the ass to anybody. You know, month to month is no different. He has no right to evict me for no reason. Um, here's Kal-El. It's funny. He is the owner of the house and has the right to ask you to move if he needs his property. What he does with your house is not your business. Sorry, but your entitled mentality is shocking to people who work hard to qualify for a mortgage, pay their bills, and take the risk to buy a house. Kal-El, I advise you to read up on your Tenants' Right Act of Ontario. You're severely misinformed. Alright, it's getting better here. Sorry it's been so boring so far. Milo, all they have to legally do is give you 60 days notice and 1 month's rent free. You can't demand money. That's not how it works. Please don't give bogus information to people when you don't know what the Tenancy Acts say. If he wants them to leave, they need to make it worthwhile to his tenant. When you sell a home with tenants, the tenants go with the home unless you can get them to agree to leave. Milo, quite resistant here. That is exactly how it works. I'm well versed and have been a landlord who had to sell a place, and that is the law. You know, people here are asking, where does this say that you have to pay tenants in the Tenancy Act? You don't have to pay tenants in the Tenancy Act. I mean, there are a few cases where you do. Typically, you'd pay 1 month's rent if you're evicting uh, your tenant legally. I don't even know if that's a law or if that's just a courtesy thing. But you know, that's not what's happening here. I'm simply offering up a courtesy invoice to move out for my own reason. You know, for his own reason. So it's good stuff. Just lots of people not understanding what goes on here. You know, it also doesn't say you can evict for no reason for 60 days. So when you come to an internal agreement between a tenant and a landlord, if you so wish, to do a cash exchange, that sentence doesn't make sense. I was drinking some scotch this night. The reason is that he is selling. That is a good reason. If he gives 60 or 90 days notice, then the tenants don't have a choice unless they go to the tenants board and let the court decide. That is what I was told. Respectfully, I am not arguing about who is right or wrong. Yeah, that's like your opinion then or something? I don't know. It doesn't. It says that 60 days notice to end a tenancy is only if the new owners plan on moving into the unit. You can't just end a tenancy because you're selling your home. If this landlord wants this tenant out immediately, then he can make a cash for keys deal and make it worthwhile for him to leave. Otherwise, I can just stay here until the landlord says he's moving in or the new owners after the sale say they want to move in. And I'm not going to put up a fight with that. That's the law. I don't want to, you know, be a pain in the ass to anybody. So I responded to that. I said, I see. Well, selling is not a valid reason to evict an Ontario tenant's rights. I mean, it is if the new owner plans to move in, but that's not kind of what we're talking about here. He needs to sell the unit tenanted, but doing so could cost him 50 to 150K. That's a guess on my part, but even at 50K, it would be worth it to give me a chunk of that. You know, that's an extra 20, 30 grand in his pocket. Let alone, The fact that it could go considerably more. I've seen townhouses here selling for 200 plus over asking, but they're all vacant. No one wants to buy tenanted homes in the market here. Even my landlord was saying that the tenanted market is way less, and so he's like, I hope you understand my situation and just move out for me. I'm like, yeah, sorry, buddy, I know my rights. That's not going to happen. Here's Zachariah, kind of just trying to abuse the system here. If I was that owner, I would say I have family moving in. You need to leave, then you have to. As soon as they require their own home for family, you're no longer entitled to their home. Just proper notice. I kind of was like, right, you realize there's people out there who would watch out for this type of stuff, right? Lawyers, etc. I would be hawkeyeing that stuff because I'm getting screwed if I move out of this home. I'm looking at an extra $700 a month. Um, it's wild. So this person would have to occupy it, and yeah, just it's an ugly process. It's not. I don't envy anyone trying to buy a tenanted home. I thought I gave my landlord a pretty good deal at $16,000. I'm suspecting that he did reject it, but I'm suspecting that he'll come back and give me that similar offer. I don't know if it'll change or not by then. Here's Zachariah again. I've rented from someone I didn't know, but if he was selling and required me to leave, I wouldn't be fighting him on his home. I'd ask for notice and comply. I didn't buy it, is how I view it. I agree. Yeah, right. Me too. What notice would you ask for specifically? Never got a response to that one. But, I'd hope they ask for reasonable notice. Can't just hand me a notice that says, hey, I'd like my home back. Oh, wait, they did reply. 60 days, unless I had an alternate solution that didn't need that much notice. And then they didn't. This is where they started ignoring me. 60 days for what? 60 days notice of eviction for what? Like I want to know why they're evicting you. Must these people just like let people walk all over them? Here's more of Zachariah. When a landlord sells a home, they sell the tenant with it. That's the law. Correct. Good job, Anthony. I very much doubt that. If someone wants to sell and a new buyer plans to buy for them and their own family only, how does the renter have more rights than the owner of the property? If that's the case, red flag for anyone looking to rent out and help someone out. That's a big red flag for me. If someone wants to sell, I can't even understand what she's saying. If someone wants to sell and the new buyer plans to buy for them, whatever. I don't fully understand that one. I agreed. If the new owners wish to move in as their primary residence and hands me a 60-day notice, I'll be out in 60 days. I don't want to cause anyone trouble. I could stick around and drag out the process, but I appreciate these laws. I don't want to abuse the system if necessary. Corey says if you want vacant, you can cut a deal. It's illegal to evict if they are selling. Thanks, Corey. You're correct. This was one of my favorite threads, although I think I was pretty drunk at this point. I was enjoying a bottle of scotch while debating everyone here. Um, let's reverse the role. If you were an owner and you had a tenant who was doing exactly what you're doing, would you be okay for demanding what you want? Yeah, of course I would. If I owned $1.5 to $2 million worth of property and was about to make another 300K on a home I purchased 2 years ago, and this is where I kind of missed the bit about, I would be happy to share a small portion of that profit if it's increasing my profit by having them not be there. I would have no problem giving them 20K. If they ask for 40K, I might say no, and then I can just sell the house tenanted and lose a little bit of money. I don't even know if that's the case these days. Maybe my offer of 16 grand was way too aggressive, and that it's just better to sell it tenanted. I'm okay with that. Let's just stick to the rules. God bless you, but I don't feel so generous in sharing my hard-earned money. I kind of was. This is where I was getting a little bit more aggressive. Hard-earned would mean you actually put any effort into its growth. Wonder who likes that. Oh, I guess it's going to show a real name. I'll keep that hidden. Yeah, I work hard for qualifying towards a mortgage. I qualified for a mortgage. I didn't think it was a good time to buy right now. I still don't think it's a good time to buy right now. One day when you own a home, you'll understand. I do understand. I have my own investments that I think are better than real estate right now. How many properties do you own? How many of said properties are being rented and only possible due to the rent your tenants are paying? I kind of talked about. Yeah, here we go. There's no reasoning with this entitled mentality. You're best to leave him in his delusion. Please enlighten me. You're an idiot, Andrew. You clearly have never owned anything, have no clue the expense that comes with owning. You seem to think they are just making cash money. I never said that. I imagine that their margins are super tight, especially with the raised interest rates lately. Um, all that money is going to go to the realtor and the interest that they've paid over the years on that house. Karma will get you. I don't know why karma is going to be coming after me. I have done nothing wrong here. Tried to come to a reasonable agreement with my landlord respectfully, to which they respectfully declined. Um, Further to that, they probably have to sell because your measly rent is no longer covering the costs. That's exactly what's happening. My landlord told me that explicitly. It's not my money to be had. It's not. I told him that it's an optional payment that will make me comply with whatever, like trying to get out of here unlawfully or just breaking the contract, I guess. I don't get a cut. Yeah, I didn't get a cut. I made the offer. He reclined. He declined, and that's a rat. Right, I agree. It was not my investment. I am not entitled to a cut of the value of him selling a tenanted house. I'm talking about taking a cut of him selling a vacant house. I can't guarantee that it would sell more or less being tenanted or not. No, of course not. I was certainly not going to move out out of the kindness of my house, kindness of my heart. It could take 2 months to sell. Closing could be another 3 months after that. Again, you don't seem to understand the variables that come to play into real estate. It's their house. They were honest with you. It's true. And could have just evicted you and said they are moving in and then sold it. That is completely untrue. You seem very vindictive, and that's not a great quality to have. These people are probably already stressed out, and you're going to do this to them? Like I said, karma. Yes, these people are probably stressed out. I imagine they're in a very shitty situation owning two homes with the rising mortgage rates. I don't envy their position. I don't envy my position. Like it's a crappy scenario for everybody here. But I'm certainly not trying to screw them over. They can just sell the house tenanted if they like. They're just still going to make a buttload of money on that. I'm trying to do them a courtesy. If this courtesy is not worth it to them, that's no bother to me. I will continue to rent under my lawful basis. No harm done. If the new owners want to move in, that's no issue to me either. I will find a new place to rent. Or, Milo says, you could just be a nice person and move. If you do this, they could always have the place staged. Then you'll have to sign the contract for the care if the staging materials, and if you ruin it, that's on you. No idea what this guy is talking about. I offered to take it offline. I took a few conversations offline and proved them all wrong. But yeah, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I guess one thing to point out there would be that me being a nice person would mean incurring an additional 20 to 30% raise in rent for no reason. I'm legally able to stay here, so don't know why people think that I would just happily pay an extra $700 a month for similar accommodations. I assume that most of these people just have no self-worth and think that anybody can walk all over them. My rent won't go up if the owners sell it unless they evict me. Yeah, just lots of drama here. And this is exactly why I don't own rental properties anymore. Tenants. I would never go after someone for the sake of a few bucks. It's just not in my character. They're kind enough to share their home with you. It's time to move on. I asked Milo to define a few bucks for me, because, yeah, if it was $10 difference or something, I might consider moving. Maybe I could find a better place. But we're talking about $700 a month here. That is a substantial difference in monthly rent. I don't know. He has to give you 60 days plus 1 month of rent for the inconvenience. Not true, unfortunately. All they can do is sell the house tenanted. My post is an inquiry about performing a generosity for my landlord. Yes, it's true. It just happened to me. It's for inconvenience. Ask any lawyer. Please, give me a lawyer that gives me that answer, and I will make sure no one ever uses them. These random names are hilarious. Atapatu. This thread is exactly why I refuse to rent. Entitled deadbeats ruin it for the good tenants that deserve a good place to live. The people complaining about rent prices are the same ones trying to rip off their landlord. I moved south of the border for work and feel no remorse leaving my investment house vacant 3/4 of the year. There are a lot of good tenants out there, but it's not worth the risk. Um, I hope your 20K invoice feels good when the new owners just give notice to move in. Um, Not against cash for keys, but come to a reasonable agreement. I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. My landlord doesn't have to pay me anything, and I'm not trying to extort them for cash. I'm not. I'm trying to make this work out for me. I'm just as fine if they decide to sell his house with no reimbursement to me, and that's what's happening. I don't care. This is where things get dramatic. We get all these great wholesome posts in this group, and then trashy people trying to abuse the system to their benefit and not finding anything wrong with it. I was tempted to unfollow this group just because of this self-entitled prick's post. I don't know what you're talking about, but would love to have a dialogue if you'd like. All I asked is how much movers cost. And then the same guy says, I am out of this group, cannot and will not support these lost causes. I honestly am not sure whose side he's on in this argument. I can't tell if it's me or if it's all the other idiots who don't understand the LTB laws. So, yeah. And then a lot of people who commented and gave me the actual answer I was asking for, rent prices and stuff. Couple people on my side here. I can't believe people think that you should just up and move for nothing. And he's a landlord. It's a good landlord right there. Here's another person upset with me. Renting a home comes with a risk, which is that you might be asked to move out upon the expiry of the lease agreement, or if the property needs renovation, or in this case where it's being sold. So ask for this cash for keys thing is an absolute extortion in my opinion. I'm not extorting my landlord. He is obligated to sell the house tenanted. I'm just offering him a courtesy to move out and break our rental agreement. And no, selling a house is not a legal reason for eviction. I actually was wrong about that. I didn't realize that it was an actual line in the eviction for personal use area, but that just says that the new owner intends to move in. So, I still have the right idea. I said that down here. I said selling your property does not fall under the personal use category, when in fact it does, so I corrected myself, saying that the new owner wishes to move in as their primary residence. Yes, there's no buyer yet for this place. It's tenanted. No one really gives a crap about it. When that time comes, give me the eviction notice. I'll happily comply. He did decline my request for reimbursement, so he'll be selling the house tenanted. No hard feelings on either end, and no extortion. That pretty much wraps up my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't make videos often, so it's probably all over the place, but whatever. I just wanted to share some of these that I thought were funny. This last person says that homes shouldn't be purchased for rental units. I kind of disagree. I really enjoy that I have the option to have a detached home. I pay a lot more for it, but it's a nicer way to live if you have the finances for it. I'm a software developer. I'm able to afford something a little more bougie and to my taste. It's not even that bougie to be honest, but it's detached. I can blast my music as loud as I want, do whatever I need to, have fun with it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and yeah, maybe I'll upload another video in the next 10 years randomly.